I'm an Emmy award-winning camera operator with over 20 years experience at the highest network level. I've shot Super Bowls, Kentucky Derbies, Olympics, and even WrestleManias. I'm your host, Howie Zales, and I never thought of myself as an entrepreneur until recently, even though I own 3 television production businesses. Are you afraid to start your own business? Are you struggling? Do your friends and family not understand what you do? The Unexpected Entrepreneur Show will share stories and inspire people with the entrepreneurial bug to take that daunting leap. Welcome to the show. How did you get into this?
It was super unexpected. That's why I love the title of the show.
I say, man, if they can do it, I can do it.
I got to figure out how to spell that damn word if I'm going to be calling myself an entrepreneur.
I still can't. It's so funny.
My father was selling knishes and sold my mom a knish.
That's amazing. What a sale.
You had red hair for about the first 20 minutes I knew you, and then it went gray.
Hey, I'm Howie Zales, the Unexpected Entrepreneur. Welcome to the show. Happy New Year, everyone. Today's guest, Tim Melanson, is a web developer, technical expert, and founder of Creative Crew Agency. Tim also created the podcast called Work At Home Rockstar, which helps new entrepreneurs navigate the challenges of self-employment. Until the pandemic, Tim earned a good chunk of his living playing gigs as a singer and guitarist. Tim, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Honored you took the time out of your schedule. So tell us, how did you get started in your business?
Well, it's a similar story, really. I mean, the Unexpected Entrepreneur sounds so great for the way that I got in, because I used to be working as a programmer for a large telecommunications company. And I graduated in 2000. That's when things started to really slide in the tech world. And so I spent about 8 years with that company, layoffs after layoff after layoff. And so I knew eventually it was just a matter of time before that was going to happen to me too. And but I had this sort of entrepreneurial spirit. I was doing these things on the side, doing some sales and some online sales businesses on the side. And I thought, you know what? Once I did finally get laid off, I thought, well, why don't I just start my own thing? I didn't want to go get another job and have to try to explain to them why I wanted to come in at 11 because I was playing gigs at night. So I thought I would start my own thing. And, I love the way that you talk about your business, because it's just, there was so many struggles and challenges that happened when I made that leap that I wasn't expecting. But it just over time, it started to morph and morph and morph. And now today, about the last 8 years or so, I've been developing websites, which is doing great. However, of course, the big thing that happened with COVID actually dropped a whole bunch of my income. So I had to really refocus. So really, it's just a long story short. I wanted to have a lifestyle. I wanted to be able to control my own path, because working for a large telecommunications company and being laid off was not what I had in mind about
Right.
working a job. So that's where I am now.
Yeah, I had a similar story back in 1999 when I was shooting news at a NBC affiliate when I decided to make the jump to freelance, and it was the perfect time. I had 15 days of work lined up the following month, and I'm like, this is when I'm going to do it. The day after I gave notice, all 15 days went away, and I was like, oh my God. That was my start in entrepreneurialism, but you can't look back, right? You just gotta take it day by day.
Yep, you got to take it day by day. And yeah, and I mean, there's not a whole lot of support back then, but now I think we do live in a much better world for entrepreneurship, and especially working from home. So, I feel like people who are actually looking to make that leap now, you're way better supported. Even shows like this that will actually give you that little bug and, give you some tips and tricks on how to actually be successful.
Yeah, and something that I found, and I never really kind of got into it, was like the Facebook groups and the online communities. for entrepreneurs. Do you take advantage of it? There's tons of them.
I do. Yeah. I mean, when I first started, like, because I've done a couple different types of things since I've been self-employed. One of them was actually sales and marketing, and I was promoting a lifestyle company and a health company, and all of that was done through Facebook. And it really, I think it got me prepared for how things were going to go because, being able to jump into different groups and different communities and find something that actually aligns with the way that you want to run your business. Because that's the thing is that, there's so many different ways that you can build a business and so many different styles that you can use to promote yourself that, it can be tough because, maybe the first mentor that you get might be telling you things that don't really align with you. But with the world today, you can go and find a community that is like you and can help guide you to be where you want to be.
Yeah, and I find that there's so many people that know how to do different parts of business or in the business world that having a business coach, mentors is so important. Did you have a business coach?
Yeah, yeah. I've had many different mentors and coaches throughout the years. Actually, I have a coach right now as well. I think that it's one of those things where, if you want to save time and, kind of try to avoid some of the mistakes that everybody's going to make, then you need to go find somebody. And, maybe that can start with going to find these Facebook groups and going to, connect with like-minded people. But eventually, getting that one-on-one support and somebody that you can bounce ideas off, because I know now, I mean, there are a lot more entrepreneurs, working from home, but back then there wasn't a lot of people in my social network, my friends, my family that really understood what I was doing. A lot of them just thought I was taking some time off. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. My business coach was, it was for over a year. I went to 2 different mastermind groups that he ran, and then I joined his coaching program, Bedros Keuilian, who's the owner of Fit Body Bootcamp. And although a lot of it took place during COVID, it totally opened my mind to areas that I never thought I would get into by like designing a course, writing a book, being on podcasts, let alone hosting a podcast. So I can't recommend that enough.
Yeah. I think there's 2 separate reasons why I look for coaches. Number one would be I need to learn something. There's something that I need to get better at, and so I need a coach to help me work through that. But then the other one is for accountability, and really somebody who's going to tell you like it is, because your friends, they want to make you feel comfortable, so they're just like, oh, don't worry about it. But a coach, the right coach, will say, no, you got to get off your backside and get to work, right?
Yeah, and your point earlier was like kind of like fast tracking it and helping you not make the mistakes that a lot of people make, that whatever the cost of this specific coach is might be worth the investment in saving the time that it takes you to get to that location, to that destination.
Yep, it always is. And I think that people really, it's just a psychological thing. You value something more if you're paying for it. And so, I know even in my life, I mean, if I know that, my coaching session's coming up, I'm gonna have to spend another, X amount of dollars, I'm taking it more seriously as opposed to like taking a free course and going like, maybe I'll just skip it today. Right.
Barely listening. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
How did your music career set you up for entrepreneurialism, or did it?
Well, it did. What's funny is that's why the name of my podcast is Work At Home Rockstar, because I actually do a lot of analogies between music and between entrepreneurship, because I found that, setting up a band and getting out there, all those things are all very business type stuff. Like, you learn how to be disciplined and practice. You learn how to put the right band together, find the right people to work with. And, a lot of times, attitude is more important than skill. And I know that's kind of weird. Yeah. Because, you think that you're going to be putting together a band or you're putting together a business and you're going to be looking for the best talent. But oftentimes, if you look around at bands, they break up, and they break up because of attitude. So, if you really want to put together a good, successful team, you got to find people that align with you and then move forward. And then, you're getting into, the rest of it, which is, getting out there and getting your gigs, promoting yourself, promoting your band. There's just so many parallels between the two that, it's hard to just pick one.
Right. No, you just gave like some great advice, because one of our businesses, we hire TV crews for sports and entertainment events. And I rather hire not the best camera operator, but the person that shows up with an attitude that is second to none, because they'll work circles around everybody else. So totally.
Yeah, and you can teach those skills, right? I mean, especially
Right.
if you're the right mentor. Like over time, I mean, it comes to practicing. I mean, you find the right band member that really aligns with you, and part of that alignment, I think, is ambition and drive. And if they have those things, well, then they're going to learn. You're going to sit in the in the garage, and you're going to practice, and eventually you're going to be able to get through these songs.
Great point. Let's talk about your podcast. So what made you decide to start it?
Well, the reason why I started actually was because one of my initial clients that got me moving actually in this business of building websites, he was a podcast coach. And so he was just kind of trying to get me to do it. And, I was looking for an idea and all that stuff. And one of the things that I came up with was when I first started that business, and this was back in, I think, '09, and, there wasn't a whole lot of help. There was, especially because I wanted to work from home. I wanted to have a lifestyle business. And the
Right.
things that tripped me up, like there was so much practical stuff. It wasn't mindset. There's lots of stuff out there that said, you just have to, grit and determination and you'll be fine. But that wasn't what tripped me up. What tripped me up was things like, I was spending 80% of my time, either in marketing, not in doing my IT work. I was spending my time with bookkeeping. I was messing up on taxes, just so many things that I wasn't expecting. And I wanted to create a podcast that addressed some of those practical issues. So I didn't really want to focus on the mindset. I just wanted to focus on, how do you set up your home office properly so that you can be successful? Are there any tips on how to find and delegate work? It was really all the practical stuff. And so now I think I've done about 160 episodes.
Oh,
I've been
wow.
doing it now for, I think, 4 or 5 years. I think it's coming up on 5 years. So it's been amazing for me because I've gotten an opportunity to meet amazing people like you who have been on the
Yeah,
show
we
and I've
just
been able to
saw a
learn
clip
from.
of it.
Yeah. So it's been a really great experience. And, if someone's looking to get moving and there's just some things that are tripping them up, this would be a great place to go. Go check out that podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, check out Tim's podcast, Work from Home Rockstar. I was a guest on it, and we were just, as Tim was talking, seeing a clip of the show that I was a guest on, and yeah, no, great advice, and it's an awesome topic, especially at this time, so timely, right, during the whole pandemic.
Yeah, it's applicable
That's when I made
for
my
people
transition.
Yeah, and it's applicable for people now who are even working a job from home because a lot of those challenges are the same, even if you just have a job. However, it is geared more towards someone who wants to run their own business or be self-employed.
Right, right. So now let's talk about your creative agency. I assume that's when you left your full-time job, is when you left to start your agency.
Actually, the agency only came to fruition just a few years before the pandemic hit. I'd done a bunch of different things. I was doing physical IT support. That was my very first business when I became self-employed. And that was like going into offices and fixing computers and fixing their networks and stuff. And but that right there, I got out because I wanted something that I could build from a laptop. I wanted something that I could build from home. But the website stuff. So what happened is that I was networking with somebody. This guy was like, "Hey, I need a website," and so I did. I built him a website very quickly. And one of the things that he mentioned is that, it's very rare that you find somebody who actually has some sales marketing background and some really knows what I'm trying to accomplish with this website, and actually can give me advice on what I need for a website, and also can do the technical work. And so he basically said, "You've got a career in this if you want it." And I said, "Well, okay." so he started sending me referrals, and this was
Awesome.
I think it has been 8 years now that he's been sending me these referrals who have led to referrals, who have led to referrals, and now it's a full business. And about 2 years ago, I had an idea that I'm a tech person, and I do have some design skills, but it's mostly tech for me, and sales and marketing and that kind of stuff. And what I needed somebody who is as competent in designing, in building layouts and building custom designs as I was. So I ended up looking for some people, and eventually my spouse is now my partner in this business. She actually just left her job a few months ago to be doing this with me. And so now between the two of us, and we do have a couple other people, we're all self-employed. So we all have our own businesses and our own clients external to Creative Crew Agency.
Oh, okay.
But what we do is we bid on projects together that are a little bit larger, that if someone wants a full custom website, or then we can work together to build this site. And, it just cuts out a lot of the overhead, because we're providing an agency quality website for the price of a self-employed website.
Right. Yeah. We just opened during the pandemic a third business, and my wife is the partner in that business, and she's way smarter than I am. So it's always good to have your spouse on board, especially
You
when,
betcha.
in my case, she's way smarter.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe at some point I'll start a podcast on the challenges we face as a couple working together.
I think we could do a show together. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean,
You mean I can't ask you a business question at 9:30 at night as you're falling asleep? Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. Me too. So, what makes a good site a bad site? What advice can you offer people?
Well, the reason why I brought Nicole into this whole thing is because a good site is all about the graphics. It's all about either the images or the video that you're using on your website. If you have bad graphics, then it doesn't matter how functional your site is, it's still going to look bad. So, I would say number one is focus on finding a person who is very good with the graphic design side of it, and then you could probably find a programmer that can put it together. If you do it the other way around and you look for somebody who's more on the technical side, you're probably going to get a subpar website, or maybe you might get something that's just like a templated site with a bunch of stock photos, which is fine. However,
Right.
if you really want something good, it's going to have to look good. And, the technical side kind of comes behind that.
So, now, when you're looking to use video or images, do you recommend one over the other, or certain colors when you're doing graphics? What stands out? What grabs the eye? I know that was multiple questions there.
So video does grab the eye, that's for sure. And so, I mean, if you can, kind of put together some sort of background videos that'll go, I mean, that's great. However, I don't necessarily think you need video in order for the site to look amazing. But video is always a better tool to use when you're marketing your site. So if you're actually putting, ads out there, if you can get some video and do some video ads and do some social media promoting with video, that is going to get way, way, way more clicks. But when it comes to building the site, like what we do, like actually one of the things that Nicole does is we provide creative direction for photographers. Because oftentimes what you'll do is you'll have all these great photos that you might have taken for a photo shoot that are like sort of like business card type photos, but they don't really work
Right.
well on a website because you need enough background behind it. So what would be useful is if you actually had somebody who could actually do the video, do the images that is specifically focused towards a website.
Oh, so you're saying take pictures that are specific for websites in mind. I understand.
Yeah.
That's good
Yep.
advice. Now, if you were using, like, let's say an iPhone or, some sort of mobile phone with pictures that you would use on a website, any advice on how to frame, whether landscape or, horizontal,
Always landscape.
vertical?
I mean, it drives me crazy when people are going through the portrait style because
I
you
know.
can't do much with that, right? But definitely always landscape. And you make a good point because nowadays our phones are very, very good quality photos. So
Right.
you probably don't need to go out and buy a very, very expensive camera in order to get good photos on an iPhone. Now, you can. What I would do, here's what I would do. What I would suggest is do a whole bunch of different styles. Take some portrait where how the portrait side it makes you clear, but the background is like
Yep.
sort of like
Out of focus.
take a couple of those and then change it back to the other mode. Take a couple of those because when it comes to building the website from our perspective, the more you give us, the better. Because if you give us a whole library of photos, we can go through those photos and go, oh, this one right here, I can modify this to make it work. This one right here will
Right.
work right out of the box. So just more is better. And it's not like back in the days where you had film. You have tons of space on your phone. Just take a bunch of photos, a bunch of video.
I couldn't agree more. That's great advice. Great advice. So now you used COVID was part of your pivot. How did it affect your business? Did it affect your website business at all?
It did, and it sort of. I was looking at the numbers with my coach the other day, and it kind of went like it took a little dip right at first, and then it just exploded upwards because when COVID hit, there was a lot of people that were very uncertain at first. So there was some projects that kind of got put on hold. Oh, we're not sure what's going to happen. But then I think people started to realize that now's the time that we need to get our business online. And so it really did help. It's just that, and this is a sort of a law, I guess, that I've learned over the years, is it takes three months to create momentum. So 3 months from now, if you start hustling, you're going to have some momentum in your business. And if you stop hustling, then in 3 months from now, your business is going to take a big dip. So it did take some time to sort of refocus. And it's a good thing that I knew that, because I didn't lose a lot of motivation. I knew it was going to take me 3 months before I was going to be in a decent place. And so, but I think a lot of people experience that. I don't know if you've experienced that. It takes a time to build that momentum.
And also with entrepreneurialism, there's the peaks and valleys, and it's all over the charts. To be an entrepreneur, you have to have a certain mindset, which comes along with routines and things like that to make you successful. Do you have a morning routine or daily routine that you follow that helps or works?
I do, yeah. So and this has sort of evolved over time. However, now what I have is I have a checklist of things that I need to do in the morning, including eat well, take some time to psych yourself up or do some meditation, and then get into your major tasks. Now, this is a tough one because, a lot of times, checklists are great because, you could check things off. But on the other hand, checking a bunch of things off that aren't important are gonna eventually catch up with you. So it would be better if you spend some time either the night before or the morning of to plan the day, figure out what the biggest thing you need to accomplish today is, and start working on that immediately. Another one is depending on your business. I mean, if part of my business is handling fires, so I do need to check my email. But if your business is one of those businesses that doesn't really handle fires, I would suggest you leave your email off, your social media off for the first half of the day. If you can do that, then you're going to be way more productive because you won't get sucked into that rabbit hole of busy on things that don't matter.
Yeah, we have similar routines. Mine starts actually Sunday when I start planning for the week, because I have certain days I do certain things like for the business, and then every night I plan for the morning the next day, because certain things come up during the day that you need to get done, and I'll do those 2 or 3, 4 things first in the morning when I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and get started.
I'm not as
Great
early
advice.
though.
Oh, really?
I'm a
Yeah,
musician.
well,
I like
you're
to
a
stay
music
up
guy,
late.
so you're a music guy, right?
Yeah.
I've been snoring at least twice by 9 p.m.
Wow. Wow.
I've fallen asleep
Okay.
and woken up and fallen asleep again. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? I think that there's something to be learned there because, depending on your style, I mean, there are some people that work very, very well early in the morning. And then there's some people that work very well at night. I know that
Right.
I'm a night worker. And I think that is one of the things that is very important about, a lot of people start their business because they want a certain lifestyle. However, the bottom line is that you got to work at some point. And I know that, you're like, oh, I just want this time flexible and freedom. But eventually you're going to have to create routines. You're going to have to create schedules, and you're going to have to be disciplined in all those things. So just because you don't have a boss breathing down your neck telling you what to do, you're going to have to figure out how to be your own boss, which is way harder than blaming it on somebody else, right?
Totally. Tim, where can our audience find you on social media?
Oh, on social media, you can go to find me on Facebook. That's my preferred method of contact. But yeah, it's Tim Melanson, facebook.com/Tim Melanson. You can also find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm through all the social media channels, but Facebook and LinkedIn are the ones that I use the most often.
Awesome, and we'll include all those in the show notes for the audience. And if you need a website designed or any graphics designed for your website, contact him. Him and his wife and staff will be happy to help you. Tim, it was an honor and a privilege, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Have a great day, Tim.
Take care.
Today's show was brought to you by the team at Veridity Entertainment Services, VES. If you need content delivery, please contact the team at VES for your next production.
Why let any social media platform control the ads on your content? Constantly evolving algorithm changes can have a huge negative impact on your following. All you need is your own content network, and Veridity Entertainment Services, VES, can help you create that. Content delivery has never been so easy and powerful. Our state-of-the-art technology can help you create an amazing private labeled experience. We create virtual or hybrid events and corporate meetings with guests from around the world to take your content to the next level. Control, elevate, and own your own content.
Well, that wraps up our show for today. Thanks again to our guest, Tim Melanson, for joining us. We'll see you next week. Take care.